John Boy.
Lessons from the screen, what we mean is we go through different documentaries to tell you what they gon' do. Give you our lessons, give them our blessings. If they trash, we tell you there is no second guessing. Knowledge is power, but time is precious. And we're here to keep you from them lessons. So sit back as we groove, giving you the review, so you only spend time on the docs that you need to. Welcome back to Lessons from the Screen. You see we got our old theme song back. That is because we are done with the Black Women Celebration month of May, but that does not mean that you should just go about the rest of the year ignoring Black women. We celebrate Black Women 365 the same way we celebrate Black History 365. Welcome back to Lessons from the Screen, the show where we give you a review of whether any particular piece of information that you can get through any particular medium with a screen is worth watching. We waste our time, our energy, and our brain power so that you don't have to. You're welcome. And as always, Lessons from the Screen is brought to you by Paxing through the Freedom Train Network. You can find us at www.freedomtrainradio.com or on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play Music. Be sure to head to one of those places and be sure to also head to the website. Again, that's www.freedomtrainradio.com. Leave us a review, comment, and then be sure to head to www.pactsinc.org, paxinc.org, to show some love and support for our sponsors. Pax Inc. is a Black activist and advocacy organization focused on developing the Black community through a shift in culture, education, and economics. And as always, Lessons from the Screen has a frame of reference that is aligned with that of the Black community. The things that we look at will be looked at with the racial component involved and with some lessons that can be used to improve the community should you choose to do so. During this episode of Lessons from the Screen, we will be looking at K-pop as a music genre and as a cultural export, as well as the cultural exports of the Black community here in America. We will also be talking about the power of cultural exports and why we should take them more seriously than we do. In this episode of Lessons from the Screen, we will be K-popping cultural exports. Motown is back, baby. Well, the formula that they used to churn out supergroup after supergroup and hit after hit, earning them the nickname of the Hit Factory is anyway. That's back. The formula involved taking a group of people, each with a specific look, talent, and feel, putting them together and training them in all manner of performance arts, and having them perform songs specifically written for them by the most talented songwriters in the world. The result of that formula is something that we are all familiar with: an explosion of Black music all over America, the successful crossing over to white audiences by many Black bands, and an exponential growth in Black contributions to the American economy and cultural influence overseas through exporting Black music and Black American culture. But as I said earlier, the formula is back. So sadly, that means that Motown is still a distant memory, fondly remembered by many of us, not so fondly by others. Anyways, to find out who is using the formula, you would have to go all the way to the other side of the globe, to a peninsula that has been dominating our political conversations for decades, the Korean Peninsula. And while North Korea has been focusing on developing its nuclear arsenal, South Korea has been developing its economic and cultural arsenals. And let's just say that they have both met with a great level of success in their endeavors. A Korean wave is sweeping the globe and finding its way to the front of a larger Asian wave that has been gaining traction for the last 40 years in the West. For many of us in America, our introduction into Asian culture was by way of wushu movies that seemed larger than life, Bruce Lee destroying 1,000 guys while another 1,000 guys watch and then foolishly decide to try to attempt to do what the previous 1,000 guys couldn't, only to get met with the same kick in the same place, right underneath their nose, right in the ridge of their upper lip, that the guy in front of them got kicked with. And in addition to Bruce Lee, you had a whole host of other kung fu stars surging across the screen, jumping off of water droplets, bowing to their masters, and actively protecting their loved ones as they maneuvered around them and oftentimes used them as props in fights. I tried that one time when I was a kid, tried to use my friend in a prop in a play fight, and I ended up punching him in the face, and it didn't go over so well, and I got a whooping I think I got a whooping for that when I got home. I'm not sure. Anyways, these sequences and this culture took hold of the community in various fashions, probably the most notable of which was the introduction of the Wu-Tang Clan in hip-hop. And for me, personally, it's impossible to mention Bruce Lee without mentioning Bruce Leroy and The Last Dragon. And if you ain't seen Bruce Leroy in The Last Dragon and you don't know who Sho'nuff is, your black card is revoked. But moving forward, this exchange was not one-sided. In the early to mid 1990s, as hip-hop was coming into its cultural golden years, South Koreans began to fuse it with their native culture, creating what could be the cultural pregnancy that would birth K-pop, or Korean pop music, also known as the Hallyu Wave. South Korea's chief export has become their culture by way of mixing it with hip-hop culture, funk, jazz, rock, soul, and R&B, and just enough English to hold the English audience, creating a K-pop wave that has pushed its way to the forefront of the overall Asian wave, taking the globe by storm. And the current leading edge of that wave is BTS. The Korean Beatles, as some have called them. They are leading the Korean wave, the Korean invasion, the Korean cultural invasion into America in the same way that the Beatles led the British cultural invasion into America. BTS is doing that with K-pop breaking through a highly resistant U.S. market and setting Billboard records. Watching this group merely arrive, as in like just get off an airplane at a location, evokes emotions from fans that haven't been seen in such strength and numbers since the days of Michael Jackson. And I'm talking about girls fainting just by looking at him, teary-eyed, snotty nose, weeping, trying to touch him, fighting over each other. It is crazy to watch what people are doing just to get a real life look at this boy band. My own niece uses the face of a K-pop singer as her profile picture. And for those of you that really don't understand how serious this is, go and look up what the K-pop music videos, the numbers they're doing on YouTube, the fans and what their fans are saying about them. Look at documentaries, just look at the information available for K-pop, and you will see something that is huge, that for many of us, we're completely unaware of it. But the younger generation, they know what's going on. They are completely in touch with it. And these guys and girls, because there are all girl groups as well as some mixed groups, they have legions of fans. Legions of fans. As wushu movies are making their return, regaining the strength they once had and restoring interest in Chinese culture for many, animes are getting stronger with larger audiences on the heels of shows like Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, the Dragon Ball sagas, and Yu Yu Hakusho, to name a few, which are increasing interest in Japanese culture, K-pop is restructuring the way that nations interact with South Korea, the global standards of masculinity and attractiveness, political power and influence, and at its core, economics. And all of this is being influenced favorably towards the South Korean culture, the South Korean people, and thus the South Korean